If you knew the things we got up to off camera, I don't know if all of, yeah, my guest is saying yes. I don't know if we still have a job the next day, but you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria right here on Star Times, Cool TV channel 196. And as promised, we have our guest in the studio. We'll be discussing issues concerning women empowerment and the International Women's Conference, of which he is the host, and I would possibly also say the convener as well. But let me introduce to you our guest this morning. He's an internationally certified leadership and communications expert. He's also the host, as I said, of International Women's Conference, and he has a number of programs that he does around here in Lagos, around the nation. His name is Abiola Salami. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Yes,
very much.
I don't want to share that gist because I think Olive had ulterior motives with the line of questioning she was asking you.
No way.
I just, asking me, well, that's behind the camera, so people don't know what exactly.
No,
she was
actually, we
saying.
should bring it out and just tell them.
Really?
Yes,
It's
because
all right.
I was curious. I was
Okay.
wondering why he's interested in women empowerment. As a man, it's normally things that women like to do for women. So I started asking how many sisters he had. So.
And you asked about how many brothers he had to.
Because I needed to be sure that he didn't have a lot of sisters. If he had a lot of sisters,
So maybe that's what influenced my
okay,
decision,
this is what
right?
influenced. So what influenced your doing this for women?
Good question. Then your
Analysis.
opinion, let me say, your analysis is not probably totally untrue.
I just realized.
It's not totally untrue.
Oh.
But in my case, I don't think that is really what it is. Why is Abiola Salami interested in women empowerment? Number one is that when anyone, I think it's the responsibility of anybody in the world, when you see that there is a gap somewhere, it's the responsibility of anybody in the world to try and attempt to bridge that gap. I mean, when you see something going down the drain, even if you are not, if nobody has conferred the responsibility on you, it is your responsibility to ensure that our community, our world is a better place. So why is Abiola Salami interested in women empowerment? It's because I realized that some of the personal discoveries I've had. And number one is I am humble enough to admit this, that you guys are in no small way stronger than us.
We run the world.
Well, in no small way stronger than us. For example, let me just cite a simple example. If you give me 3 tasks at the same time, right? The way I will run the task, I will do one, finish it, then do the second one, then I'll finish it, then do the third one. That's not the way you guys are
We
wired.
multitask.
Do everything.
You guys
I'm
do the same
multitasking
thing.
right
I mean,
now.
you guys were doing the 3 things, almost at the same time. We may spend the same amount of time doing it. Maybe I complete mine in 15 minutes. You might complete everything also in 15 minutes. But the good thing about you guys is that while you're fixing this, you're fixing that there's only a woman, that is working 9 to 5 somewhere, that somewhere along the line, despite her busy schedule, she has time to check on the children, right, to follow up on the nanny.
Sneak out during break, go to the market.
Go to the market, to make sure that the family is cool and fine. But of course, the dude went to work and the guy is just there. When he closes from work, he
He
gets
doesn't
back
work
home.
again, but when she gets home, she resumes her
No,
second
he
job.
actually works,
okay.
works again because he gets home, then the next thing is his food.
Do you not see the two of us?
Then-
Okay.
I know. And I do that on purpose.
Just stop right there before you get in trouble. But earlier as you were talking about why you're involved in this, you made mention of the gap. And over the years, we've seen a number of programs come up. And you would have thought, at least for us in Nigeria, the gap would be getting smaller. And I think it was a Forbes article that came out a few months ago that talked about the fact that if Nigeria has apparently the top 1 or 2 countries in the world where women are entrepreneurs, as in women kill it. Small business, big business, women kill it in Nigeria every single day. But why does the gap then remain?
Okay. For me, there are 3 things that I think of, when it comes to discussing women. The first part is what you mentioned, which is women entrepreneurship, which is good and great because we have several examples, several people in this country who are doing a phenomenal job as women entrepreneurs. The second thing is also making women understand that as much as you want to pursue a career, as much as you want to succeed in your business, it's also good to bring the responsibility of nurturing the family also to the fore. The third thing is about women in leadership, which is where most of the gap is. For example, the last presidential election, we had one woman, only one woman who attempted, to contest at the presidential level. For the gubernatorial election, I don't think that there were up to 3 names out of 30 states. I remember some place in, I think, northeastern part of Nigeria or so, that somebody was supposed to be a candidate and all that. Just 1 out of 36 states. And that is, for me, where most of the gap is. Because you see women thriving, you see women growing and doing stuff, but when they get to a particular level, right, it seems
There's that
to be
glass
that,
ceiling.
Yeah, it seems to be that there's that glass ceiling that they cannot shoot up. And that requires the combination of efforts of women and men as well to make things work, to make things happen. And one of the things I see that gives me joy, especially for womanhood in Nigeria, is we have more women coming out to do stuff, more women coming out to be entrepreneurs, more women advancing in their careers, more women growing to the top. Now there's progress. There's real progress. Just that we need to increase the speed of that progress. We don't need to have slow growth. We need to have more people. And again, the discourse about having more people, my campaign always is that we should be less emotional and think about competence more. I've been in different fora where people are talking about giving women a chance, and it's an emotional discussion that somebody say women too can do it. I believe women too can do it. But what I always campaign for, what I stand for is develop yourself, make yourself too competent
that
so
you can't be ignored.
ignored.
So you don't think it should be something like an affirmative action sort of basis? It shouldn't be, let's meet a quota of having the women, but the women are competent enough that when the names are put into the hat, their names stand out.
Yes. And you know what? What I've seen again in the world entirely is that when we want to solve a problem and we know where the solution is, we know where to go. When we want to solve a problem and somebody has the solution, we know where to go. And so when we have more women having the solutions, not just talking about solutions, having the solutions to problems, competent enough to take on roles and all that, then we can be sure that gradually, we will keep closing that gap, the gender gap that exists in our society.
This is great news, and I applaud the fact that you as a man, you're the one doing this. Now, we know that men also have roles to play in the issues of women empowerment. What would you say are like the fundamental roles that men have to play in women empowerment?
The first one is support. The number one, support. Because there are women with great ideas, lofty dreams and all that. But if you don't have the support, and let me start even from the family setting, and if you don't have the support of your spouse, it will be pretty difficult to move on, to move ahead. And one of the people I share a personal relationship with, she's one of the people speaking at the conference, Honorable Abiola. When we have discussions, she tells me about how her husband helps her to succeed even as a politician. Right? I've had tons and tons of other women like that they always share how the man in their life is supporting them to move on in their career. And I think that what makes you a man really is that you have that self-confidence that you can support your spouse, support the woman in your life, and you don't feel...
You give her space to shine.
Give her space to shine.
Inferior.
Yeah, you don't in any way feel inferior. And that is one fundamental thing that men need to do. And also, that is for the family setting. Whether the woman is your wife, your sister, or whoever she is in your life also, the support extends to that as well, which is good and critical.
Oh, thank you very much. Like this has really been enlightening. Now, I'm seeing that you're having an event coming up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the
About
big
women
one.
empowerment.
Yeah.
Okay, can you enlighten us on about the event?
Okay, this actually started like 3 years ago. Our women empowerment initiative was part of a major conference we hold every year. We call it the Game Conference. But the consistent feedback from 2013 and 2014 is women said that, hey, Abiola, you know what? We're actually very jealous. So why don't you carve out something special for us rather than just lumping everybody together in this? And so that's why we're coming up with this now. And it's the International Women's Conference. The theme is empowering women to secure the future. Because as much as we're discussing giving women a chance, closing the gap and all that, competence development is very key. And it's about developing competence and developing confidence, as well at the same time. So the International Women's Conference this year is holding on this Saturday, at a hotel and suite. We're discussing women entrepreneurship, we're discussing women leadership, we're discussing how women can manage their career and their family demands as well. And when it started in 2013, it was the Senior Professional Ladies Colloquium. So we're looking at how executive women, how women working, mobile women, can succeed in their career while at the same time the family is not lagging behind. Because I need to say this unashamedly, is the fact that the custodian of family values, the woman is the custodian of family values. And if you see any breakdown in the society, that people having different kinds of thoughts about and sexual orientation, about all of those things.
Yeah. I want him to finish.
About all of those things, traditionally in Africa, you realize that growing up, I'm sure that
The blame goes to the mother.
you can know. I remember how my mom bashed me left, right, and center, and it wasn't comfortable then. But hey, the kind of person she wanted me to be, because she took some time, to ensure that she spends time with me. And you have many children who only see their parents on Saturdays, and maybe.
But that's also a reflex, or more of a reflection, of the current situation, particularly if you live here in Lagos. But I want to take you aside, because one of the sessions, as you made mention of, at the International Women's Conference is managing work and family. Now, there's been an ongoing discussion for a number of years, especially as more women are out of the home. Do you think a woman can have it all? Can she successfully manage a professional life, being ambitious and getting up the stairs and breaking the glass ceilings, and have also a successful home where her kids are not running amok, her husband is happy, the family is going well, and she's progressing in her career? Do you think women can have it all?
My answer is emphatic yes. And why am I saying this? Because I have examples. The people that I relate with, who they're succeeding, they're thriving well as business owners or as people growing within the corporate sector. And at the same time, they understand that they need to keep the main thing. It's about decision. So you want to grow your career and you don't really care so much about this, so you're looking for alternatives, or you know that this career is important and the family is equally important as well. So how do I task myself? And women have great people. They have that skill that you can balance this, you can work this and work this at the same time. So it's about interest, and it's also about knowing what to do to make sure that works out perfectly. One of the people I've related with, her name is Shola David Boa, right? And she's the group managing director of a bank. And when she shares with me how she manages her family demands with her work, I thought that, so what are the younger ladies doing? And there are people who don't have half our responsibility or even 1/4 of our responsibility.
I think part of the problem is that they're not being mentored. We all have the examples, but having an example and having somebody who's personally in your life mentoring you through the situations are two different things. And I'm finding that it seems to be a gap with this generation and the ones before them about simply mentoring them in the way to do things.
I agree, which is why we're putting this together.
Okay, and before now, Tolu, we've gone together for a lot of conferences talking about women empowerment, and the prices I'm seeing for the registration of this one is not small beans. What am I going to get in your event? What would inspire me to pay for your event that you think I wouldn't get in any other event that I would go for free?
Okay, one of the things that I guess you would get in this event is global positioning. You realize that we are hosting the president of Global Women Foundation from Los Angeles, California. Wow. That is the largest women network in the world. And so this positions you globally because as the next thing to this conference is trying to get as many people, all the people that attended, and we're positioning their business, positioning their careers as well. Just imagine that you may have this network globally already, but just imagine you have something more than what you had before. The fact that you can connect and relate with the situation of other women in other countries and other continents as well. And so it positions you globally. That's one you cannot take out of it,
Good news. So a lot of people that will be wondering how to get details. Is there any website they can visit?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, let's hold on to that, because people would also want to know who's going to come and speak and who's going to be sharing some words of advice. But right now we have to take a quick break because it is the top of the 8 o'clock hour and we're bringing you news. After that, we come back and we wrap things up on the International Women's Conference with the host, Abiola Salami. Stay with us. And we're wrapping things up with our guest here in the studio, Abiola Salami, who's the host of the International Women's Conference taking place on Saturday here in Lagos. Now, you can find out more information by either following him on Twitter at Abiola Champ or sending an email to info@iamchampgroup.com. I found that study that I was talking about. It was released in April from the Gates Foundation and the Clinton Foundation, which said that 41% of women in Nigeria are entrepreneurs, the highest level anywhere in the world. I think that's something that deserves some kind of appreciation here in Nigeria in that regard. We've also made mention of the sessions that will be taking place: women entrepreneurship, managing work and family, women in leadership, and you also have something about Women Making a Difference Awards. Tell us a little bit about this.
Great. Now, the awards is a recognition and appreciation for women who are thriving and succeeding in their careers. In their careers, and we'll profile you for perhaps the next one. Women who are thriving and succeeding in their careers. You mentioned something about what Forbes and the Bill Gates Foundation said about 41% of
Nigerian women are entrepreneurs.
Being entrepreneurs. While that is exciting, right? What I always think of when I see things like this is, how do we sustain that, and how do we increase that? And that's one of the things this conference is about, helping. Yes, there are many women entrepreneurs, so how do we help them to sustain their growth? How do we make sure that we even have more, that we increase it? And back to the Women Making a Difference Awards, it's a recognition and appreciation for women who are using their competence, their character, their creativity, their compassion to make a difference, a positive difference in their careers and in their community. This year, we've profiled 5 women who will be winning this prestigious award this time around. Before now, some of the people who have won the award, the recipient, there's a beautiful lady called Mo Abudu. She is a former recipient of the award. There's another lady called Abike Dabiri. She's been a recipient of the award. This year, there's a lady called Amina Oyagbola, who is HR director in a telecoms company, who has also done phenomenal work in empowering women, especially in mentoring young women. She's been profiled for that for this year. There's another lady called Onyeche. I'm trying to recall her last name now. Who's the first Nigerian managing director of a global company.
Wow.
So she's not just the first Nigerian
female.
She's not just the first Nigerian chief executive. She's the first Nigerian, and she's a female. Right? Okay. And she's young as well. We have also on that list, we have Senator Remi Tinubu, who has thrived a lot, especially in community development. And so these are women that we are recognizing and appreciating, to say thank you to them for their efforts. And while we put the spotlight on them, we are putting the spotlight on them such that it will be an inspiration to other women to Tolu that wants to win the award next time.
Now, we're going to wrap things up, but aside from the event, the International Women's Conference, and the particular sessions taking place on Saturday, I know there's also something happening tomorrow with one of your guest speakers. Her name is Michelle Patterson, and she's going to be a keynote speaker on Saturday, but this is a woman that's, my Lord, her profile is incredible. She's an American award-winning national salesperson and a Fortune 500 top sales trainer. What is she going to be doing especially on Thursday?
Okay, it's Thursday and Saturday. We're having a sales boot camp for salespeople.
And if you're an entrepreneur, you need to know how to sell.
Sure. Yeah. I was about saying that when you hear that somebody is the richest man in a particular locality in Africa, in Nigeria, wherever, it simply means the man has sold more of his products and service. That's just the simple thing, that the person has sold more, and so far the business is legit. It's just the person has sold more. And the responsibility of selling is on many people. I mean, whether as employees or the people that are marketers and salespeople. I'm sure if you guys are friends, and maybe the person is a banker, and you ask that, okay, so what's your role in your bank? And the person says, I'm a marketer. You'll be sorry for the person. Crazy target. Or perhaps the person is an insurance person, even whichever organization, except this is oil and gas, which they don't do marketing as such anyway. Whichever organization the person says is a market, say, wow, your targets must be crazy and all of that, which is true and real, which for me is what makes life good and beautiful. So what we are doing on Thursday and Friday is helping salespeople to learn how to sell effectively, how to close sales, how to deal with fear of rejection, how to deal with objections, how to communicate such that you are clear enough and the person you are selling to, gets your point, how to build relationship, how to manage people, how to close sales. We say it is moving from boring sales to fantastic sales.
All of those who have these ideas in their head about businesses they want to start, but haven't mustered the courage to start up, is there anything for them as well?
That's why they need to come, because, until the ship sails, nothing happens. I mean, until you move ahead, nothing really happens. You can think about it, you can analyze, you can discuss with your friend, you can get enthusiastic about it, you can be so happy. I mean, about whatever the idea is, but until you step out, I mean, that's when you can only win the prize, when you're willing to pay the price to win the prize. So this is just good for entrepreneurs, for salespeople as well in different organizations. And we already have banks registered, coming around. We have people from telecoms, coming around as well. We have organizations registering their people to be part of this great program because it is wonderful.
And we look forward to seeing you there on Saturday.
Sure.
Or
sure.
before
Yeah,
Saturday.
before
Sure,
Saturday as
I'll be there
well.
on Thursday. I'm co-training with Michelle, so I'll be there on Saturday. I'll be there on Friday. I'll be on Thursday. I'll be there on
Friday
Friday
and Saturday,
I'll be there on
and we'll be there with
Saturday.
you all through this
All of
day.
you,
Yeah,
your
you're
monitoring
welcome.
spirits.
Yeah.
All right, we've had the host of the upcoming International Women's Conference with the theme Empowering Women to Secure the Future, Abiola Salami. And of course, some of the sessions that will be taking place on Saturday include women entrepreneurship, managing work and family, women in leadership, and women making a difference awards. But Thursday, if you're interested in sales and being the best salesperson you can be, he's also having Michelle Patterson, who's an American award-winning national salesperson and a Fortune 500 top sales trainer with a specific targeted session that's going to be holding tomorrow. You can tweet at him at Abiola Champ, or you can email info@IamAChampGroup.com. You'll be getting the details on my Twitter timeline. So again, a good morning to you and a very big thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
He asked me if I'm going to give him a hotel to sleep in last night. We're coming so early. But we're going to take a quick time out right now, and we have Bernard on the streets who's going to give us some traffic. So I think you might want to listen up as you head back out. Let's find out what the traffic situation is like.
Listen.
So, did you like what you just saw? I know you did. It's very simple. If you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel right now.